Hi there, friends of Design and League. Today we will take a look at the faces of the female Demacian champs and redesign or clarify their appearance. So let's dive right in. To freshen everyone up on the topic, Riot IPs depict champion faces in vastly different ways. Sometimes so different that it's hard to distinguish them. This is followed up by some champions sharing certain features which make it hard to pinpoint them into a specific corner of the world. This is one of the possible pitfalls in stylized art. But as Arcane is supremely showcasing, it's not always the case, and often underneath the same faces there is a good concept. With everyone being reinformed, it's time to start designing. After visiting the beautiful island of Ionia with their fierce and iconic champions, Demacia features your mostly classic European fantasy country. And our first champion is Fiora. To be honest, Fiora's design is great. She has some skins which make her look not as much as herself, but all in all she is very recognizable. She has the lifted pointy nose, the posh attitude that screams superiority, and in the field of dueling for good reason. Fiora's design was changed Season 5 and got a major rework. Some things are preference, but in my book the change was a clear W. More insight that's probably interesting, Fiora has extremely forwarded lips, especially in the facial expression she has on her splash art, which supports her posh demeanor. This made painting her from the front rather hard, because painting something which extrudes from the face in a frontal way is difficult. But in fairness, this is her resting face and not her face. Next up are the winged protectors. Any other year before 2024, I would have said that the designs are very unrecognizable in the vast sea of League of Legends faces. But the season cinematic came to the rescue, and with that, Riot went into a distinct direction with their faces. Kayle and Morgana both have more angular faces, meaning they are less soft and have sharp contours. As twins, I painted Kayle's face first and later changed the hair and some minor details for Morgana. Kayle's face looks harder and more grim than Morgana. For the Dark Angel, I changed the facial structure in a way that shows her with a more open and neutral look. And of course, the iconic lips. While in the last strokes, I changed Kayle's face to incorporate a sterner gaze. Kayle is also the first champion where I did some minor changes that, in my opinion, work wonders. I gave her blonde eyelashes and a golden circle surrounding her pupil. Morgana and Kayle share the grey eyes, which is a nice touch to bind them together. That is why I only added a small hint of color inside the iris. But man oh man, does this make them pop. Finally, a small detail I added was just a tiny hook on top of Kayle's nose to give each twin a slightly different look. Next up is a League of Legends poster child. The champion that can single-handedly finance a whole season of Arcane. Lux. The lady of oh my god, was it a pain to get this face right. Lux's face is as ambiguous as it comes, and this totally makes sense. Presented in more pieces than I know about, she has gone through very different design phases. Even I once made an oil painting of her, which you obviously know because you have subscribed. So let's talk about the thing she has to represent. Bubbly, happy, friendly, kind, cute, positive, smart, even though a bit naive from time to time. The painting really started to click when I added a smile to her face, and with that, a wider mouth. That one step showed me that I am on the right way. In a sense, she is the opposite of Zarya and Vex, who always look a bit grumpy. We follow up with the wave of golden hair and move to the side view. Lux is probably the only champion that can have the audacity to have some similarities to a Disney princess. You know, from my other videos that I like to do Bergens and Tugunors, but credit where credit is due, and this curved nose is adorable and cute. Lux is also the second character of whom I changed the eyes. First, I added a greenish, nearly white tint into her eyes. Oh, and I gave her golden eyelashes as well. In her lore, she's always on the verge of glowing, and this detail supports that. Finally, I wanted to add that her face is purposefully less angular. If I think of angular and sharp, I think of knives, dashes, and a lot of kinetic energy. Lux is more magical and has curved shapes. A good example of a more angular face is Quinn. A lot of her personality is hidden by her helmet, that's why we will draw her without it. Quinn's splash art is a remnant from the intermediate presentation style of League, before the reconstruction of the Freljord, which is the moment the League universe started to really become its current version. To the rescue again comes Legends of Runeterra, which gave her a more believable face that elevated her a lot. This was one of the occasions where I made a monochrome sketch first, that was later colored. The important elements are her narrow eyes, which look pierced. I changed their light brown to a more intense yellow brown, closer to a bird of prey. She actually is one character who has lighter brown hair. In League this is something rarer because normally characters have black, dark brown, white, blonde or colorful hair. Either way, I tried to add some freckles to her face, but then I decided against them, because she never had them and I was not sure if adding some would have been too much of a stretch. Still, this is Quinn. Next up is our favorite dragon lady. Shyvana is someone I've already redesigned, making her origin Ishtar, because that's where a lot of the dragons come from. She's still in Demacia, but her egg was taken from Ishtar. Check out that video if you want to see the ideas. But in this video I want to try something new. I took inspiration from the Shyvana design presented in the post, especially number 3, because I like this number 3. I colored in the sketch and gave her the iconic blue skin. This time I went for her dark hair and tried to make her less majestic and more ferocious. That's something I really enjoyed doing. There was not that much pressure because I've done it once already, and this time I built on the concept, which was pretty supportive. Starting process of gathering all images, I realized that I actually was not that happy with it, and I sat down again and did a small paint over to saturate the colors, take some hair out of her face and do some small adjustments to her facial shape. Let me know which one you like better. And now, lords, ladies and legendary lieutenants, we are doing Sona. Why is this special? The answer is twofold. First, she comes from Ionia and could be implemented in the first video. And secondly, some of you are voicing a wish for a rework of her design. Now I can at least do some part of both. As mentioned, she's from Ionia, which means she has to look the part. Under the last video I got some great feedback and tried to implement it into the Sona design. Sona received the counter design to Lux. Her smile is a silent one. While Lux bursts out with positivity, Sona is mute, which results in conveying information in a more subtle way. I painted her in the twilight. While characters like Seraphine shout their songs from the rooftops, Sona's song always felt to me more subtle, as if she could play the sound of snow falling or encapture a smile and a laugh in her quasi-harp song. That is why I made her look like this. Additionally, I followed the instruction of keeping away from the stereotypical eye position, rotating them and giving her a slightly more melancholic look, which fits her beautifully. Making her hair was oddly fun, but the one thing that bothers me are these heavy metal pieces in her hair. But oh well, this is a job for a proper redesign. Lastly, I made Vayne. And this was my thought process. Her character reminds me a lot of early 2000 female action heroes. Leather suits and monster hunters, ice-cold demeanor, and a pro with ranged arms. Characters who came to mind are Trinity from The Matrix, as well as Selene from the Underground movies, or Anna Valerius from Van Helsing. The latter are actually played by the same actress, Kate Beckinsale. All of those fit the same archetype. Later on, her design was mixed with the Sentinels of Light uniforms. This explains why I took Trinity as my first reference point. Later on, I checked on her splash art and incorporated some shapes of her current design. I thought about adding some small purple effects in her eyes, like a shadow of Evelynn's horrors. I mean, if you think about in which kind of way Evelynn lures and finishes her prey, I suppose coming home to that scarred you for life. I created 2 pair of glasses, the old and the new, and I also added both hairstyles. I like the pixie hair, but I can also see an argument for her old hairstyle. And that's it, folks, the Demacian faces from start to finish. Except Poppy, but yodels were not the topic.
Guess who's back for more?
Well, I nearly forgot one more character. Evelynn. The thing with Evelynn is that she poses as the most attractive being in all of Runeterra. That is why technically her face should look different for everyone. In-game, she's mostly portrayed with seducing facial expressions. A heart-shaped face with full lips, high cheekbones and glowing eyes. When we return for the male faces, I will try to make a version of her which is appealing for those who are into that, and for everyone writing in the comments, and I don't mean constructive feedback, that's always great to read. You just changed into be ugly. I hope that compensates you for the lack of stimulation. Now that I can draw everyone as a hottie, I just think that there's more to being a good character design than just being appealing in a generic way. But everyone is entitled to their own preferences. And that really is it, folks. Next up, we will probably visit the Freljord because that's where I'm currently at, or Noxus because this is a place to go wild. As always, feel free to leave feedback, and if you have some constructive things, I'm always eager to hear them. Keep your eyes peeled. Soon there will be a Nocturne character design sheet in the community tab where you can give your opinion on the direction. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This was Arthis, and I see you in the next video.